Hi, welcome back to another art challenge. I'm here again in my home studio, and today I'm going to guide you through learning about a particular art style that I really like. It's called Impressionism. We're going to be using chalk, or at least I'm going to be using chalk, to draw a Impressionist landscape. So something like this. Now, if you don't have a set of chalks, you can easily purchase chalks, usually a set of 12 or more. Walmart has them, or you can order them online pretty easily. They're not very expensive. You could also try sidewalk chalk if you have a set of that. Another medium that you might want to try though is watercolor paints or just regular tempera paints, or even you could try this process with colored pencils or even crayons. So before we get started with the steps, I'm going to just kind of give you the basics about what Impressionism is. Impressionism was a style that was happening around the mid-1800s. It was a style whose goal was not exact realism. Artists like Claude Monet, which you see here, wanted their paintings to capture a fleeting moment in time. Often they would paint outside, and they would try to describe the light and the shadows that they saw with their paint. They would then often have to paint rather quickly because light does change very quickly. So brush strokes were loose and visible, and the artwork then gave the impression of a single moment. So the artwork that you see here is the inspiration for our project this week. This is an Impressionist painting by Claude Monet. Alright, so these are my materials for this project, this challenge. I'm using a sketchbook, which does have a little bit thicker paper. If you don't have a sketchbook or construction paper type paper, you could also just use computer printer paper. And then I have an assortment of chalk pastels. So take notice that I have my paper in a horizontal format, and I have a kind of medium green chalk pastel. And the first thing we're going to do is place our horizon line. So the horizon line is the line where the sky meets the earth. And so I want to encourage you to not divide your paper exactly in half with this line, but maybe go slightly above the halfway point. So I'm just going to draw my line across, and then I'm going to kind of lightly fill in the whole ground with my green, and then I'm going to be blending it with my fist. So here's what that would look like. All right, so the field actually changes color as we go farther into the space. So as we go towards the horizon line, it's actually going to get lighter in color. So I'm going to use a yellow and kind of layer some yellow towards the top, the far edge of the field. So this is the area that's farthest away from us as the viewer. And this is creating some dust. So when you are working with chalk, try not to blow the chalk. Instead, you can lift up your paper and gently tap it down. And then I'm also going to go the other direction. If you have a darker green, you can do this too. I'm going to put some darker green towards the near edge of the field, the part that's closest to us. Okay, and then I'm just going to use my fingers, or you can use your fist again and blend that in. All right, now it's time to pay attention to our sky. So I'm going to go into the blues. I have a darker blue and a lighter blue. If you have ever really looked at the sky before, the higher up in the sky you look, the deeper the blue is. So I'm going to start with the darker blue, and I'm going to what's called scumbling. Scumbling is kind of moving your brush, or in this case just your chalk, in multiple directions. It's almost as if you are just rubbing or almost scribbling, okay? But notice I have my chalk laying on its side for this. So I have flat areas of color, and I'm just gonna do that across the top. And then I'm gonna take my lighter blue and do the same thing on its side. I'm just gonna kind of move that across. And then of course, blend. All right, now we're gonna put some clouds in. Now I'm going to encourage you to not draw the outline of your clouds, okay? They're not drawn. They are more just kind of scumbled in, just like we did with the blue. So you could use a white or even a pale pink, might be kind of a nice effect. But I have a little piece of white here, and I'm going to just kind of hint at some cloud shapes, and it will naturally blend in with the blue a little bit, but that's okay. So no marshmallow outlines of clouds, okay? You're not doing the rounded edge outline. You're just kind of rubbing in the color of the white into your sky where you think you want some clouds. All right, now I'm going to go back to my dark green, and our picture is really taking shape here, and you can kind of see if we were going to walk into this field, this would be the part that's closest to us, and as we walk into the field, this area right up here is going to be far away, right? That's the horizon line. That's the part that looks like it's the farthest away. That's the far end of the field. So I'm just going to add a little bit of dark green along the edge of the far side of the field. And some of these, this dark green is going to poke up a little bit into the sky. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of a bumpy line. What it's going to look like is distant trees and bushes. And so you can make some of your trees go as tall as you want. I'm just going to add a little bit of dark green all along the edge of my field. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect. It's not supposed to be exact, right? Right. Feel free to play around with the colors of your field, and even in the trees, if you want to layer on some browns or some other earthy colors, grays would be good too. Feel free to play with that a little bit. And the last step that we're going to be doing is adding some bright pops of color with reds, and maybe if you have a bright pink. So remember, this is going to be an Impressionist style, so we don't have to have exact shapes of flowers. We're just going to kind of give the impression of flowers. And since this is a field that shows distance, a lot of these flowers are going to be so far away that we don't really see the details of them. We're just going to see the bright pops of color of them. And here it is. To finish it off, I just did some really quick vertical strokes of my chalk with the dark green, medium green, and then the yellow, and kind of add some texture, some stems and grass. And there you have it. You did it. This is an Impressionist artwork. It's an impression of a field, flowers, and sky. It's not exact, but it's still very fun and beautiful. So what I think I would love to see is that you choose a title for your work. Share with me what you did if you can. And again, you could try this same process with a different medium. So have fun.